Then one of them asked, "Have you seen God?" And then Srila Prabhupada said, "If I tell you falsely that I've seen God, will you believe me?" And he said, "No." And Prabhupada said, "Then what is the use of asking the question?" So it was like, so anyway, then there was more chanting and the program ended, and the students were really very impressed. And I was just wandering amidst the students, relishing their conversations. Oh yeah. That night, because the temple didn't have a car. The movement was very poor at the time. And I had one. So when they saw I was coming regularly, they asked if I could drive Prabhupada to the programs, and I agreed. So that was my first night. So I was sort of, loitering amongst students, and suddenly one of the devotees approached me and said, in Prabhupada's voice said, "So, where is the driver?" "The driver? That's me. Oh my God." So I rushed to the car and began to drive. And after a while, I had a vague idea of how we got there. It was pretty easy during the daylight, but now it was dark. But anyway, I had a general idea of the directions. There's going straight, turning left, turning right. But as we went on further and further, I really got a very sinking feeling that we were lost. So I asked the devotees, "Does anyone know the way back?" And they also didn't really know. And then Prabhupada, who was sitting in the front seat next to me, turned to me and said, "Is not the driver supposed to know the way?" I didn't even know I was the driver. I just thought I was helping out. I didn't know I had become the driver. But anyway, so eventually we found our way back. But I did feel bad that I had gotten us lost. And so, we got there, I rushed out, raced around, opened the door, and said, "I'm sorry that I got us lost." And he smiled with such love and compassion. He just smiled and said, "That's all right." And that was extremely touching, because here is a person on such a high level of spiritual realization, and who has the ability to tear to pieces any false argument. He's at such a high standard, but he was compassionate towards someone who made a mistake. And that was very important. That was very important. So there were many programs, but I'll just mention one. This one was at Boston College. It was in a I think a classroom about this size, and it was full of students and professors. And there was a cleared area in the front like this. The disciples were sitting mostly in the front. And Srila Prabhupada was on a raised dais. he spoke, and I loved the questions and answers. I would just wait for the questions and answers. And so many times, someone would ask more or less the same question, but he could give a completely different answer according to the person who asked it and the audience. Anyway, so there were some very interesting questions and answers. And then there was kirtan. And so it was similar to Brandeis. Prabhupada was chanting, and the devotees were dancing in a circle in front of him. And as I was chanting and dancing in the circle, my heart just filled with love for everyone in the room. And yeah, I was just looking at them and feeling so much love. And then that sense of love expanded again, like beyond the walls of the room, out into Boston, Massachusetts, felt what was going all the way to California, across the Pacific, and throughout the universe, as a feeling of universal love. So yeah, and I thought, that little voice, this is like a peak experience. But anyway, pretty much I was overwhelmed by the experience. And afterwards I went up to Srila Prabhupada. It was the first time, yes, I would ask questions from the audience, but it was the first time I really approached him. And I came really close to him, and I said, Swamiji, this chanting was wonderful. And he began to chuckle. His whole being is like heaving, he was like chuckling, and I knew he wasn't like laughing at me. I knew that he was feeling some sort of ecstasy. And he looked at me with that, love and compassion, and he said, "Thank you very much." That's all he said. So he was there for 2 weeks, again, every night, either at the temple or at some university or some venue, but mainly at university. And then the last day came, he was leaving. Devotee said he's leaving. I didn't know he was leaving. I didn't know he would leave. I thought he would always be there. They explained, well, he has other centers that he has to go to. He doesn't stay here all the time. But we're going to the airport to see him off. Would he like to come with us? I said yes. So we went to the airport, and at the airport, I saw almost all of the devotees were crying. And so there was one devotee she was sort of a confidant to me in those early days, so I asked her, what's happening? Why is everyone crying? And the answer she gave was that, from Srila Prabhupada, was that on the absolute platform, there's no difference between meeting and separation. Both are occasions of ecstasy. So I thought, well, that's the answer. It's a perfect answer. But I did have a doubt whether it was actually practical. So Prabhupada left, the devotees returned to the ashram. And in the evenings, we would go out and chant. And one evening, some days later, we were chanting in front of the Kapli Square subway station. And I suddenly felt Srila Prabhupada's presence. It's like his presence descended upon me. It was so tangible. And then I thought that what she said was true. That on the absolute platform, there's no difference between meeting and separation. Both are occasions of ecstasy. And I felt it. I was weeping in ecstasy at that stage. And it was tangible. So then I was convinced everything about Krishna consciousness is perfect. So since then, I've tried to water the seed by chanting and hearing about Krishna. And I've also, tried to bring others in touch with the principles, with the practices, and with Srila Prabhupada. Because he is still available in the form of his instructions. I mean, he's also available in other ways, but essentially he's available in the form of his instructions, and one who takes up the instructions will get the results. I mean, he used to say that it's a scientific process. Once I used that phrase at the University of California in Irvine, and some students objected, how do you say scientific? Because their concept of science was very empirical, based on sense perception, based on sense perception. So I explained that in this sense, that you have a hypothesis, you can perform an experiment, and the results are verifiable and repeatable. You make an experiment, you can chant, you can follow the process of bhakti yoga, and you will get the results. And it's something that it's like an open secret. It's an open secret because we speak about it openly, but it's a secret until you actually try it. You can't really experience it without trying it. And since then, I've traveled to all parts of the world. Africa, I mean, it's just an example, but Africa, we love the chanting and dancing and the vegetarian food. It's not just vegetarian food, but it's sanctified through a transcendental process. And you can even taste that difference. I had a colleague who was in India during the Peace Corps. And in the Peace Corps, he had visited some large temples, Vishnu temples in India. And he had this food, which they call prasad there. Prasad literally means mercy. And it tasted different. I mean, he was there helping the farmers, I think in Andhra Pradesh. So he was used to having Indian food, vegetarian food. But the food in the temple tasted different. There was something different about it. So he just noticed that, and then he came back to America, and he met the devotees in America. So in Boston, when I started to actually stay in the ashram and have meals with the devotees, I found that there was the food, and then there was the same food cooked in the same pots, everything with the same ingredients. But it was taken out of the larger pot and put on a plate and offered to Krishna. I mean, there's the whole science to this. And that food tasted different. It tasted a little different from the other food, even though it was the same. I didn't say anything. And then one day, we would sit in rows on the floor and eat. So one of the devotees said to another devotee just across from me, "Did you ever notice how the food that comes from the deity's plate tastes like it has a little sprinkling of sugar over it?" Oh my God, that's exactly what I experienced. So that, it's real, it's not just me. And the day after Prabhupada left, the devotees were sitting for prasad, for meals. And someone came in with a jar of dal, which is like a lentil soup, you could say, and announced that this is Srila Prabhupada's remnants. Remnants means that he ate from it. And this was like I saw all the devotees become very excited. So the person was going around and giving a little to everyone, and then asked me, would you like to taste some? And then from the material point of view, it's gone off. But it's very special because the food that's offered to the deity, it's all prasad, but the food that's offered to the deity is called Mahaprasad. And the food that's been offered to the deity and eaten by the spiritual master or a self-realized devotee is called Mahaprasad. So I thought about it, and I thought, well, let me give it a try. They're all doing it. And for me, everything was an experiment. So he poured a little out, and the initial contact of the food with my tongue, it was like very distasteful. But then there's like another level of flavor emerged. It was like the most divine nectar. Like I'd never experienced anything that sublime in terms of food. So, like one instance after another, the philosophy was confirmed, the theory was confirmed. It was very much like that. You have the classroom, and the professor explains the theory, and then you go into the laboratory, and you do experiments, and you see what the professor said in action. So it was repeatable and verifiable, and it continues. In fact, it gets better. It gets better. It's not like what Prabhupada said about counting. You can chant 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then when you get tired of that, you can try chanting. Yeah, the chanting is always fresh, and that itself is the proof that it's not an ordinary sound vibration, but a transcendental sound vibration. So, to conclude, I will ask you all to repeat after me. We'll just go through the mantra once. And just repeat after me loudly, as loud as you can. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Yes, one thing I should mention is that this is not sectarian. This is not sectarian. Like science, it's universal. And we do chant the name of Krishna. It's part of the Maha Mantra, the great chant. But any name of God in any scripture can also be chanted. The same principle operates. But again, this is the Maha Mantra. It is mentioned in the various sacred texts as being especially efficacious. But I mean, it's not that we're trying to convert someone, who's Christian to be Hindu or Muslim to become Christian or any such. Those are all designations of the body. They have nothing to do. This is on the platform of consciousness. On the platform of consciousness, there's no such thing as male, female, black, white, yellow, brown, young, old, learned, ignorant. Those designations apply to the body and the mind. But the consciousness is beyond the body and the mind. And so the chanting operates on the level of the consciousness. And so it's not a matter of, we want you to change from one label to another label. Nothing of the sort. So now, you did so well. We'll do it again. But this time, as a refresher, we'll do the 2 words at a time. But then after that, we'll do it again, 4 words at a time. So, pay attention. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Now, 4 words. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama Rama, Hare.
Now, 8 words. You are so good. I'm so impressed. I'm going to stop with 4. We're going to go straight to 8. Ready?
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
That was fantastic. That was fantastic. Let's do it again. Really. Because I'm thinking maybe we go to 16, but let's just try 8 again, and then we'll. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
I think we'll go for it. You all have aimed high, and that's why you're here. So we're gonna keep aiming high. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, is there anyone who is here for the first time that could take a try at the whole thing? Not all at once, but so this is a hard one. I mean, it's a hard one, but and no force, no pressure. But, or anyone who's been here once or twice. Any volunteers?
Yeah.
Okay, do what we just did.
Oh, okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
All right, so I think this is good for now. Maybe if I come back in a while, we can have a more advanced class and add the dancing. But I think this is very good for now. Even that little bit of chanting, you could feel the happiness. Sometimes we like dare people, we challenge people. You can't say this mantra and not smile. We win every time. They cannot keep a straight face. They just can't. It's just too much happiness. They have to smile. So thank you very much.
We usually, that's all right, I can be heard too. We usually open up for questions from the audience. We also have, we do have a prasadam, vegetarian prasadam meal outside that Maharaj was talking about. And also we have books available.